Thank you. Unfortunately, I don't do stand-up comedy anymore. But don't worry, I'm still funny. So in a research lab in Wisconsin, a woman sits in the waiting room filling out paperwork as one of the scientists attaches electrodes to her ankle. They stick her inside an MRI machine to make a movie of her brain activity as they administer a series of electric shocks. Don't worry, she volunteered for this. They give her a small screen that alerts her from time to time that she's about to get shocked. And as she sits there in a state of apprehension and anxiety, a predictable set of brain regions lights up. One's contributing to worrying and detecting danger. They repeat the experiment, scanning her again, but this time they bring her husband in to hold her hand. She still gets the same warnings and the same shocks, but her brain response has changed, and the activity in the worrying and danger circuits has calmed down. In Japan, a young man pedals on a stationary bike as scientists use infrared light sensors to monitor subtle blood flow changes in his brain. By the way, scientists love using stationary bikes because it's so much easier to record from someone's brain when you don't have to chase after them. But they find that just 15 minutes of exercise is sufficient to increase activity in prefrontal circuits responsible for emotional control and elevate levels of the neurotransmitter serotonin. And finally, in a hospital in Pittsburgh, doctors noticed that patients recovering from spinal surgery don't seem to do as well on one side of the hospital compared to the other. And it appears to have something to do with the fact that the rooms on that side of the hallway stare straight at another building, while the rooms on the other side are bright and sunny, with scenic views of downtown Pittsburgh. You can laugh, it's okay. Sorry, Pittsburgh. The doctors find that patients moved to the sunny rooms suddenly have a higher tolerance for pain and need less medication, the sunlight helping the brain to produce its own form of morphine. These stories hint at our new understanding of the neuroscience of resilience and illustrate how the brain is malleable and can be reshaped. My idea worth spreading is this, that by making small changes in your actions, interactions, thoughts, and surroundings, you can actually change the activity and chemistry of key brain circuits that contribute to mood, motivation, and resilience. The brain exists in a body and wants to move it. It exists in a community and wants to connect to it. It exists in the world and wants to be engaged by it. The topic of resilience has been really important to me, both as a neuroscientist studying depression and on a personal level. Resilience is finding the strength to go on even when the world threatens to overwhelm you, whether the barriers that you face are external or internal. It's resisting the impulse to give up, a spark of motivation that unfortunately in depression gets stripped away. I've studied numerous forms of modulating the brain activity to restore that spark. And it's tempting in our age of rapidly advancing technology to think that the only solutions lie in high-tech interventions developed in a lab. Medications like selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors or devices like transcranial magnetic stimulation. It's easy to see how those modulate brain activity. I mean, they even sound really science-y. But things like holding someone's hands, getting some sun, and yet recent research has uncovered the fact that these types of positive life changes lead to positive brain changes in its electrical activity, chemical composition, even its ability to form new neurons, targeting the same systems as these high-tech interventions. And these positive brain changes make further positive life changes more accessible. And importantly, this is happening whether you're aware of it or not, so you might as well become aware of all the ways that you are influencing your brain. I remember back in college during my senior year, There was a time when everything began to feel really overwhelming. Every little decision worried me. I felt a lot of anxiety about the future, not knowing what I was going to do with my life. Making matters worse, I got a tooth infection so bad that it would wake me up in the middle of the night, and I had to get a root canal. And then my girlfriend dumped me. And even though I knew there were so many opportunities around me, the road ahead just seemed so difficult. And with many years of neuroscience now behind me, I've come to understand how all these various factors were pushing my brain into a downward spiral, sapping my resilience. Uncertainty and aimless action, physical pain, loss of a close relationship, all have myriad negative effects on the neural circuits of emotion and attention and motivation. In particular, loss of a close relationship meant loss of a steady source of the neurotransmitter oxytocin, which helps calm the brain's stress response. Fortunately, there were many ways I was inadvertently preventing my brain from sinking down deeper. Primarily, I was playing on a competitive ultimate frisbee team. Not a joke. And I wasn't aware of it at the time, but all of the high fives and hugs and handshakes and hanging out were replenishing my oxytocin system. All the running and jumping strengthened my dopamine circuits of motivation. And just getting outside helped synchronize my circadian rhythms to my sleep cycle. I didn't have an intentionality about it, but I just stumbled, luckily, into all these various ways that were benefiting me. And now I advocate for them. There is no one big solution to strengthening resilience, but there are dozens of small solutions all around you. Beyond the ones I've already mentioned, there's gratitude and sleep hygiene, mindfulness and deep breathing, and many more, each doing their part. So when the road ahead feels just too difficult and you don't know how you can go on, it's okay. You don't need to solve all of your problems all at once. You just need to take one small step to strengthen your brain, and it'll make the next step easier, and the next. Whether that's relying on someone close to help calm your brain's emotional circuitry, or moving your body to get a boost of serotonin, the opportunity is there to create a new path forward. Thank you.